Bring us in, JeJuan.
You are so evil.
Let me see how sick you are. You're fucking sick. You're fucking
So
sick.
evil.
Okay, I'll bring us in. I got
No,
it.
I don't mind bringing us in, but you're fucking sick.
I'm dead.
I'm so sick of his ass.
He really did that.
This bitch gonna count down like I call it in JeJuan. You're sick. You're sick.
Okay.
Starting now.
5,
Starting now.
2, 1, and we're live. Semaj, please. Oh my God.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, y'all. Semaj, y'all two are playing, and y'all are the reason. Yeah, y'all are part of the problem. We would like to say that we are extremely sorry for missing an episode. We know that y'all were like really like ready for Friday to come along and for a new episode to drop. And we really wanted to be consistent. We really wanted to put something out. But it was just like
life happened.
A terrible week for us all. We had something ready to go. We had technical difficulties on my part, and I'm extremely sorry.
It's only right for the person who did it to speak up. Yeah.
Yeah. Our footage was lost, and we had to like stop, please.
I think everybody's life was just like
it was discombobulated for us.
It was discombobulated.
From that point on, everything was just like downhill. The girls was in shambles. We was shook.
We was shook. We was definitely shook.
Our heads was spinning.
Yeah.
And this is why we're back.
I'm dead. And this is why I come on the show to talk about y'all niggers. And so I would like to start off by saying, wow. Already choosing violence this early? Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock.
Yeah. No, because they've been choosing violence for the last couple days, and I just want to speak on it.
All right.
Why can't he say speak on it? So, first of all, I know we're gonna get into trauma and all that stuff later. But what I would like to say first off is people being selfish.
People being stupid, or both.
Stupidly selfish. Yeah. So for me, it's like I didn't get to do my minimum wage rant that I did last week, and I'm so sorry that you guys did not get to see this. But I'm going to continue it now and move that on forward with the topics that we have also discussed, me and some other people.
So this is going to be about the broke bitches and niggas.
Because they like to make it about themselves, yes. So, first off, I would like to say that this minimum wage raising is not for you to talk about if you're making a couple dollars over minimum wage to start with. Secondly, I would just like to say that you speaking on other people's lifestyle and the way that they came up and were brought up in their traumas only shows that you're meeting the devil where he's at. And third, because first of all, I did my research specifically on San Antonio, Texas. And so my biggest thing is, number one, when we talk about minimum wage raising, I talked about my mother last week. Me and my mother, we talk, we read. Okay. So we sat down and we had a conversation about it.
That's
and she
Miss
was
Taylor.
like, she said, when I was 16, I worked at Long John Silver's. That was my first job, and I was making $7.25. My mother is 46 now. It has been 30 years. And the fact that minimum wage has not been raised, even though gas, even though the housing market, even though the taxes, all of that stuff has also been raised, does not make sense to me. Number two, I don't understand why broke people try to tell other broke people how much they should be making. It does not make sense to me.
That's never gonna click in my head, and I don't know when it's ever gonna click in their head.
Can I chime in on that? It's really what it really is a bunch of broke people aspiring to be millionaires and billionaires. And majority of y'all, let me speak to it. Not even majority. A lot of you all will never ever see a crumb of what they make in their lifetime. So while y'all out here aspiring to be on their level, you need to make sure that you, in this lifetime, you're able to enjoy some lavishes, some like great things to make you feel like you really had the experience to live. Because you're never. Does that sound like something you would want? Does that really? Well, let me tell you, you will never get it. Not from life, not from her. No, you won't.
Okay.
She's not going to give it to you.
And we're gonna speak on that because one thing that really irritates me is, especially with the Trump administration, and I know that he's out, and I'm so happy that he's out.
Oh my God. What surprised me is we didn't even talk about the whites taking down the Capitol, but I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Caucasian Revolution. So
the snow possums tried to
have revolted.
They thought the girls, and let me tell you, abolish the police, baby. We don't need to reform anything. It's not going to work. Police officers, and a lot of you black ones too, because y'all are just as much as possums as they are.
Oh shoot!
Y'all cannot be reformed.
All right.
The toxic, the bad apples then brought the whole system out to the foundation.
We going off on a tangent again, girls. Back on top.
But okay, but like hold on, let me just wrap it up in a bow. Let me wrap the coffin in a bow. Right,
wrapping a coffin in a bow.
Y'all motherfuckers is sick, and we are tired, and abolish y'all, period. Get it out of here, trash.
No, okay. So here's the thing. What I wanted to say, to speak on that too, is we want to talk about minimum wage. And what I really want for people to understand is that minimum wage jobs are not just flipping burgers. They're administrative workers. They're people who are
essential workers.
People who come to your house to be home assistants for people. Like, they're essential workers that really make the world go round. When you want to order your burger, it's the person that's taking your order. When you want to go do X, Y, and Z in retail, when you want to go buy and shop, it's the person that's giving you your clothes and taking your clothes when you finish trying them on. So then
after you get done trying them on, we fold them back up so they can look pretty again.
Okay, so when we talk about that, you want to dictate how much money they should be making when they're the people servicing you. And first of all, in San Antonio, Texas, we student council has voted to raise the budget for police in San Antonio, Texas, a city, to $2.9 billion. $2.9 billion. And with that, the police will get a 5% raise. Now, already off top, before all of this happened, the starting pay for San Antonio, Texas was $20 an hour. And by the first year, after a whole year of working as a police officer, 1 year, you get raised up $2 to $22 an hour. And that happens every single year that you work. So on top of that scale, adding 5% more of a bonus raise is ridiculous. And then for the same people that have been harming, we had a whole article talking about 1,900 police officers are in Baltimore, Maryland, and 1,892 of those officers have been reported doing harmful crimes to citizens. So when we talk about police and reform and all this other stuff, they get a slap on the wrist, they get help to maintain that type of lifestyle.
That's what all that damn money is. It's to cover up the bullshit that they're doing.
That literally. And the fact that they are putting out Tesla cars for these same officers that cost hundreds.
You don't need Tesla cars.
It's a slap in the face to the people who have been killed, who have been harmed. And so it kills me that people of my color, but definitely of not my kind, want to sit up here and and take up for lowering minimum wage or taking up for the cops and all this stuff. This stuff impacts you. You're selling yourself on this American dream when the American dream was not built for you, sweetie. It was not built for you, and you're not in the likelihood of you even maintaining a crumb of that is not going to happen. And so people, it matches the belief system of supporters who support Trump in saying, hey, he's a businessman. Baby, he's a terrible one. Just because your father saved you and just because somebody said, oh, let's forgive your debt does not make you a great businessman. And baby, let me tell you something. If you got just a tad of melanin in your skin, if you tried to do that, you would be locked up in shackles. So don't sit up here talking about we can do this or you can do this or Trump did that. I don't want to hear it. So that's my whole rant as far as money, as far as people concerned. You're selfish and you're trying to buy yourself this American dream because capitalism has rotted your brains. It's done its damage. It has been Nicki Minaj eating your brains. And that is what you need to release yourself.
What did they say? God didn't give you a brain to be stupid.
Okay.
I wish we could find this video.
I love that quote by him.
Semaj was talking about when he was like, capitalism had rotted your brains. I wish I could find this video of this boy. He was like, I know we were talking about abolishing capitalism, but it's a pizza party at work. And
was it a TikTok?
Yes.
What?
Okay, we gotta see. You gotta find it and send it to us.
Oh my God. So I say all that to say that Black people in this country have a feat to fight. And so when we talk about trauma, when we talk about all of that stuff, it directly impacts us when our everyday life, the microaggressions, the people, like the slap in our face just based on society.
It's so many slaps.
So many things.
Slaps. No, I'm sorry. We're getting beat down. We're getting beat down. There is no more slaps.
And you know what it is? You know what it is? Isn't this, okay, I can't remember what it was in psychology that we talked about, but for so many generations, we have gone through like trauma and oppression to the point that it's so ingrained into us that we feed into it naturally, like instinctively. Like it's kind of like how we have been born to believe, and what we have been born to believe and think is that this is what we're supposed to feed into. Like this is just how it is. And it's been how it is for so long that we're just okay with that, and we let it be okay, and we defend it, and we take up for it. Like it's something to take up for. It's inhumane. It's dehumanizing. And for you musty ass, dusty, broke, I don't even care if you making $80,000. Y'all are musty and broke because you're not even making a crumb of what you probably should be making realistically when it's some. At the end of the day,
the white men and the white women are making more than
they still got that foot on y'all neck.
Like we also gotta talk about wage disparity as well later on.
Okay.
But you know what? We going off into a whole new episode than what
we might as well do that instead of because
I want to choose violence for choose violence.
Yes. Well, okay. I just have one thing to say now that you said that. Yeah. For all you people talking about teachers are only making this amount of money, so I don't want nobody who's unexperienced and do all this stuff to make minimum wage. Baby, that's selfish, and you need to do your research as to why you're making that amount of money and why you're accepting it. And two, I would like to say that for the people in the hospitals making $15.34, talking about people in the hospitals making $15.34, I don't want nobody making $15 an hour who's unexperienced, who don't have a degree. Baby, you should be doing your research as to why you're in the medical field making $15 an hour, baby, because you're not making your loans. And so I also want to wait, can you stop? Wait, so when we talk about this, let's talk about this, because I'm so sick of you musty snow possums trying to tell me how to feel about the money that we're making. Because
you mad because I want to spend my stimulus on something else rather than investing in a 401k business.
401k business. No, wait. So I want to start off. So I know this is your topic, JeJuan, but just to smooth this right into trauma, I wanted to give just a little bit of because we're gonna go deeper into it, but me and my mom grew up poor. So when I grew up poor, and she definitely did too in her own raising. So the fact that we were struggling trying to figure out what to eat, if we were gonna be able to survive, where we were gonna live, and she had a bachelor's degree. So we're arguing about because they sell into this American dream that if you go to school, you get your degree, you get a good job, you make the money, you're fine. No, because there are people who actually have degrees who are homeless, who are trying to survive,
who are not qualified for the job, even though I have a bachelor's degree in whatever it is that I'm specializing in.
Right. So we're not just talking about minimum wage workers. Some of them have degrees. It's not like they just didn't finish high school, didn't do whatever. So I say all that to say that you don't know where somebody's background is from, and to sit here and tell Black people to pull up their bootstraps. We have done it time and time again, and you have came in and you have ruined. We have had massacres. We have had cities and towns and businesses that we've built that you've come in and rummaged through. So the fact that you have the audacity to sit up here and tell me that you should pull up your bootstraps and you should get an LLC don't make no sense to me.
You should
because so the fact that my mother,
you know what it is. Hold on. Before we even get into it, let me just drag these LLC people for a little bit, because what they're doing is fraudulent. They're scamming. They're scam artists. Y'all bitches. Y'all need to be in jail.
You triangle scheming bitches. You trying
to play the IRS and evade taxes and all this other stuff. You're going to jail,
and you're gonna end up like Blade, sitting behind bars. So,
I like Wesley Snipes. Oh my God.
I do too, and I love him too, baby. But that accountant was not for him. So, I say all that to say, my mother had to work a full-time job. She had to go to night classes to get her master's and take care of me. So the fact that she had to do all of that just to equate to the amount of money that a regular white person was making straight out of high school, straight out of college, does not make any sense to me. So don't tell me about trying to pick yourself up, trying to do all this stuff when we have time and time again have had lack of resources and stress. So you can go ahead.
It's just blatant racism. And you know what I keep seeing and keep realizing as well? Everything, you know that term how white people say, like, if race is brought into it, why does everything have to be about race? Everything is fucking about world is about race, and it's fucking crazy.
And it continues to be
that, and it's a privilege. It's a privilege to even say that, to even utter those words out of your mouth. Why does everything have to be about race? That is a privilege within itself.
Wow.
And it's not even white people that say that. It's Hispanic people. It's Latinos. It's all of them. I know Black. I Dominican. I'm Puerto Rican, baby. I'm not Black. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm Dominican, but I can still say nigga, even though I said I'm not Black 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's all of y'all that utter those words, and you don't understand that it's a privilege in saying that.
Knowing good and well, Spanish conqueror came over to Haiti to try and dilute the race, putting everybody who was light-skinned in positions of power. So the fact that you sit up here and say as a Latino person that is ridiculous. Go ahead, JeJuan.
Yeah. So I feel like we should go ahead and just change the subject, because I was going to say something else that had to do with racism. So I was looking on Twitter, right? And wow, thank God for TikTok. I didn't know that back in the 1950s, okay, so like, you know, you have white communities and Black communities, right? They were, they had that thing called redlining. Right. And they would plant trees and wildlife and parks in the white neighborhoods. So that way they would have lesser and cooler temperatures, while in the hood or in the Black communities, they would not plant wildlife, not plant trees, not plant parks and stuff like that, and the temperature would be hotter. So that made me think, you know how when you hot, you just angry?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, when you hot, you be angry. When you angry, you want to cause trouble. Right. And I was thinking about the hood, and I'm like,
It's a cycle, because you have, like in August Alsina's documentary, they have chemical plants in New Orleans next to Black hoods. In Third Ward in Houston in the 1980s, they tore down houses and built a chemical plant. They do it strategically. And even in our background, JeJuan, just us moving from Spillane Middle School to Sally's Middle School, they redid the district zoning because the white people were scared that their white kids would be around brown and Black people. And so they redid the district so that white people in those neighborhoods would stay at that school. It's a plan.
The funny thing is, though, it's like, because in ethics, I just learned of this term, and I'm just like, wow, because when JeJuan said, why does everything have to be about race? In ethics, we were sitting here talking, and she was like, like what Semaj was saying, the chemical plants and things like that, just waste, landfills and whatever else. It's environmental racism. They're harming us. They harm us every day. Mm-hmm. And we sit there and we don't know any better. We don't know that these things they're harming us, and we don't know to the extent in which it's slowly, our health is just rapidly
deteriorating.
Yeah.
And it's
even our life expectancy is decreasing.
Lower.
Our black
and these
lives
people
are
over
decreasing
here in these white neighborhoods, and even the black people that live in those white neighborhoods, they wouldn't want that stuff where they live at. But they're okay with it being somewhere else because we don't live.
They don't have to deal with it. It's an
inconvenience. That's not our problem. That's not
up
to us.
It's the justification of racism for me too, because I think a lot of my issue is if you're racist, then just say that. Just stand by what you say. Don't do racist things and then try to hide your hands as if you're not racist. And so, like you said, when people do certain things and they say, "Oh, well, why does everything have to be about race?" There are people specifically putting their lives on the line, as we have seen with that white girl who got shot at the Capitol, putting their lives on the line to withhold this standard of racism for people who don't even respect them. I remember reading a book, and I wish I remembered the name, by this African author who detailed how the white socialites had created this hierarchy of whitedom. Like we have, racism on the scale of melanin, as we know. But then you had the plantation owners and you had the overseers. And the overseers were oftentimes white people who didn't have money, who had bad health. A lot of times their teeth weren't right. They were dirty, all this stuff.
The white trash.
Right. And so the idea of, let me put those people in a position of power, let me put them in a position where they have to oversee somebody who's doing worse than them, so that they can psychologically say, I am better than you and I'm doing great. And so a plantation owner put this hierarchy, because they would have events where overseers would be looked down upon if they went to those events. So my thing is, you're being put down. And the fact that you don't even care enough about yourself to build your self-confidence up to say, I'm not going to deal with this, to say I'm just going to put down somebody else so that I can feel better. And like
it's a cycle. Oh my god.
It's a cycle. And people don't know how they play a part in the cycle, and that's what stresses me out.
Oh my gosh. I hate this. It's every week with you bitches. It's something new I didn't discover. I hate y'all.
Right, because I had this discussion with my mom about the history.
I said, can I just say this? Can we abolish, along with the police, can we abolish the whites and can we abolish the heterosexuals?
Yes.
Abolish heterosexuality, abolish them in every area. It's not normal. It's not every problem, every issue in this world has to do with either a white person or a heterosexual.
Yeah.
We are tired. We are sick.
Yeah, we're tired.
We're done.
We are tired.
We're done.
I
don't want to share this with y'all. I'm sorry, I don't.
But it's like we said.
They don't want to share with us. They don't want to share with us.
It's like we said, the more marginalized you are, the more you're able to stick up and to care for other people. White people have never had a history of caring for other people. So why would I expect them to do that now?
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
Is this who we are?
Is this who they are?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. As we talk about, let's talk about the Caucasian Revolution. So then people storming the Capitol. I know we are past this, but
it's good to bring it back up again, because this will always be relevant. This will be in the Tim McGraw-Hill textbooks, and they better tell it right.
They're not.
Oh, you know they're gonna sugar. They're gonna add sugar and spice and everything nice to it.
Child, they're gonna say them white people came up to the Capitol to have a party. Child, gonna have them kids. They're
gonna be like they demanded democracy, pay them justice. That's what they
Are you also gonna discuss how they smeared poop on the walls? Are you also gonna do that, Susan? Are you
how they climbed the wall?
And then listen. What the funny thing was, they on the internet talking about Candace Owens' mixed child, talking about, one man was like, I have an inbred too. They're a hybrid. That's what he said. I have a hybrid too. He was like, there's some beautiful little things. Talking about his kids.
Wait, can we?
Talking I know about this his kids. And listen, somebody else, they discovered a group of people that were talking back and forth about killing her.
Can we?
And this is just funny. And listen, let me also say this: the black man that took part in the storming of the Capitol, while all the white people are they're going
off.
home.
They're getting off.
And yeah, we're not getting off. They're going home into their court dates. They want to hold the black man. They want to keep the black man in holding into his court date. And see, these black people, they think that they're safe. You are not safe when it comes to white supremacy. This system does not benefit you just because you take up their beliefs, their ideology, just because you think you can participate, because they welcome you, just because you think that you can walk amongst them and feel like you're safe because you've adopted these things.
You think Harriet Tubman was walking around with a
you were not safe
crown on her head when she was leading the slaves? To freedom?
You were not safe. You were not welcome in this world. And I don't know how many times we have to keep telling y'all dummies, y'all idiots. It's not even a word. It's not even a word to properly describe you coons. It's not even a word.
Well, let's talk about that. The idea. Have y'all seen Django? Correct. Okay, so Samuel L. Jackson's character.
Samuel L. Jackson, yeah.
I think it was the idea of, let me play my part, let me play nice so that I can have a piece of what you have. And the fact that you would rather sell your soul to have a piece instead of sticking with the people that are going through it with you and then revolutionizing it so that you can have the whole pie seems a little bit stupid to me. Seems a little bit dumb to me.
See, and that's why, and this is also reminding me of why, wow. You know how the slaves, when they didn't want to become, when
they didn't want to become,
when they didn't want to be shackled. I was trying to think of the word.
When they didn't want to be.
He said, JeJuan, why would you do that?
I had the word in my head, but I was just like, okay, I'm sorry, you guys. When they didn't want to be taken into slavery, that just reminded me of how they drowned themselves. Right. Instead of forever wanting to be in servitude. And wow.
Because I think, like I've seen tweets, slavery is definitely much harder than we think it is. The more that I hear the stories, my mom read a book called The Medical Apartheid, and it was talking about all of the ways that white people have done and re-engineered our bodies and DNA medically over the years. The way that they did experiments on us. And so even talking about that, just the idea to make a decision to say, I would rather kill myself, I would rather die, I would rather kill my children than to have them be forced to live this life. I mean, even the fact of getting your teeth knocked out for the servicing of ventures for white people, dentures for white people. There's so many things and aspects to it that I think people don't really recognize. And
to this day, that's still happening. Like what Semaj was saying about like killing themselves and their families. Like it's people that are depressed to this very day. They don't know how to make ends meet. They don't feel satisfied in life. They commit suicide. They commit homicide by like killing their kids as well. And it's like people don't. I'm not necessarily taking up for these people and the stuff that they're doing, but y'all don't realize how like messed up the world makes people. The world makes people messed up. These systems, they make people messed up. It's sick, and y'all defend it. Y'all defend it every time. Every time y'all defend it.
Yes. Okay. So, I'm gonna ask y'all a question, right? So, y'all know how they have black. So now we're gonna get into the entertainment of things of racism. Let's talk about it. 2750. Let's get into it. I don't like how, and this is probably gonna venture off into award shows as well. I don't like when I see black entertainers singing the national anthem and America the Beautiful and the Brave. As somebody coming up in the entertainment industry, I don't want to sing that white shit.
Well,
I'm trying to see different sides. Like, I know that it's a good thing to see as like, as the entertainer, as you singing it and having that ability to sing it and do it well and having different arrangements and stuff like that. But it's like, I'm not proud black man living in America. I don't like, it's ghetto here. I don't see that sense of patriotism. I don't.
And you know what's sick about that?
Black. What do you say?
Praise the Lord. What do you say? Free or is it
free?
King?
Free.
I'm a young black man.
I'm a young black man. I don't know how to go, but I just don't.
But no, what's sick about that?
I don't. The white and black patriotism it's not the same. And I'm sorry. I like living here. I
like living here.
I like living here, but I don't like living here.
Yeah. But no, what's sick about like going back to black entertainers singing the national anthem? What's sick about it and what's twisted? It just like makes my skin crawl.
It's racism.
White people get inside the comments and wow, this just shows us the unity between us, and as a people, we need to respect each other and love each other and be kind, and this, that, and the third about unity and respect and patriotism, and we must be one as a people, and we're not two individual races. We're human beings.
We're a human.
Well, see, that's the thing.
And they try to white guilt, or like they try to write off their whiteness. They try to write off their privilege as something imaginative when it's not. It's the truth.
Performative.
That's the thing. Me and my mom just had this conversation literally 2 days ago. And so with what you're saying, I'm glad you said that because it reminded me of something I was going to say at the beginning. Black people being fair and white people doing psychological damage in us to think so that we can think that just by having the bare minimum or just by getting by, the tables are fair. And I think to our demise, because there was a movie called The Palm Trees or something on Netflix, and it was talking about shut up, Tay. So it was talking about I don't remember names, y'all forgive me. So there was a movie.
Don't remember it in the moment either.
There was a movie talking about how I don't remember the country either in Africa. It's a true story. Shut up, Tay. They
I'm thinking.
it's like Tay is laughing at me. So they basically had I think it was Spain come in and do plantations in that country in Africa, and this dude who didn't live in Africa went there to go visit his father because that's the family business. He wanted to see what the family business was. They hadn't really detailed it to the children. And so he goes there as a full 30-year-old and sees all of the damage being done to these African people and starts in his head, there's a conflict because I've grown up respecting people in my country and now we come here and we disrespect people, and he ends up falling in love with a black woman. And that society. And then it shows the lineage of their children coming back to that country and seeing how it is now. And basically there was a revolt. The Africans had enough. And so they took what the white people did to them. They took their guns, they took their spears, whatever, and just pillaged the white people. And it forced the white people out of their country. And to this day, if white people ever came to the country, black people would side-eye them and they would say, you better watch your back. Because it is not allowed for those type of people to come in their country. And so for me, that was a lesson in saying black people have continuously been fair. And it's only going to be until we fight back and say, enough is enough and let's play your game. You want to play it? Let's play it. For them to actually respond in a way that is better for society as a whole.
No, wait, before you go.
The heterosexuals, let me tell y'all something.
Wait, I just want to say something. I just want to say something.
Okay.
That quote, I was in my class with Dr. E. Wow, shout out to Dr. E. Hey, girl. We were talking about this one girl. It was right around the time that somebody had died. Wow.
Yeah,
it was around the time of Black Lives Matter movement, and somebody had just recently passed away. I believe they were shot. There was some girl, the lady that said, "You better be lucky that black people don't want revenge. We want." What did she say?
You lucky black people accept equality instead of wanting revenge.
Yeah, I don't know why she said that because I don't agree with that. We want revenge.
What?
No. We know, and I was just gonna say that in my rant. Heterosexuals accept equality.
Wait, back to the heterosexuals. Back to the heterosexuals, like I was saying.
Period. I told you I have to keep my foot on their neck because they don't know how to act. They don't know how to act.
Come on. All right.
They accept
You don't know how to act
equality.
either, baby, based on that text.
Oh, but hold on. We're not even gonna get into me. We're not gonna get into me. Why would you? Do you want me to mention what I know about you, child?
Let's move on.
Keep it on the playground.
Let's move on.
We're gonna keep it on the playground. Okay.
Let's move on.
But no, like black LGBTQ people. We have not accepted equality. We have not. We actively call it out. We actively keep our foot on everybody's neck. And heterosexuals sit there and they accept it. They riot. They riot. They take to the streets, and then the next day they're feeding back into capitalism. They're feeding back into white supremacy. They're feeding back into their oppression. They're feeding back into their generational trauma and all this other stuff, and they're okay with that.
Right,
they're okay with
That's
it.
the
they're
only
not,
thing that they know, honey.
and they're not doing anything other than taking to the streets. They're not doing anything to change it.
That also, wow. That also goes into like being. See, shout out to Dr.
And hold on.
Can the white? If you call yourself a white ally. I need you to do the work.
No!
I need you to do the work. Just like how we say LGBTQ, if you say you support us, you need to do the work. If you're a white ally, you need to do the work.
Well, I think it needs to be more specific, and I'm sorry, Tay, because you gonna get this point out. Watching Grand Army, it showed me a lot. When that white girl was trying to be an ally to that black girl, she stepped in to speak up and do all of the stuff. But she had a conversation with her white friends, and was saying, I'm trying to
white people with her kind.
She was like, I'm trying to be an ally, and I don't understand. And I think that the issue is that is a privilege in itself. When you feel like you know all the answers, and so you should be able to do whatever you feel like you should do, instead of asking the person who's going through it, what is the solution? White people continuously step in to try and be an ally based on their own merit and their own rights and their own biases, instead of actually listening and asking black people how to be an ally. What can I do for you? Instead of, let me just step in and
how
speak.
About this? How can I serve you, master? Ooh.
But listen, I was gonna say, when I can't remember which one of y'all were talking, but I was gonna say, and then black people feed back into these systems, all of these, just buy LLC, invest in some real estate, do this, do that. You gotta circulate your money and be an entrepreneur. All these black people that partake or feel like they're partaking in a huge piece when they're only getting a less than a crumb. You're profiting, you're making less than a crumb off whatever it is that you're doing. So you're already being shorthanded, and you're not even aware of that. You're not even aware. But just because you take part in those systems, you feel like you're better, and you feel like that you have knowledge and this to give to somebody else. But you don't, because you're not successful.
Because black people feel like when they get a few dollars, they can tell somebody what to do.
You're not truly successful. You're not truly getting the cake. You're making it. You're getting a crumb, and that's it.
Isn't it a book about how African Americans we're never gonna amount financially up to white people? I remember seeing something on Facebook. It was back to LLC Twitter.
If we keep playing by their game, I think that's the thing. Black people, like I said before, black people sell into this game of, if we do this, then we should be able to get this. Baby, they're doing a lot more.
Crabs in a barrel. Like, black people just
right.
We're doing a lot of this to each other instead of doing it to the people that we need to be doing it to.
And we need to be doing more of this. And we need to be doing. And this.
And that.
And this. Yeah.
But see, that's what I wanted to go back to, because me and my mom had the conversation about crime and poverty. Because, and I think they illustrated it well in August Alsina's documentary for his album, of just when you introduce poverty into a society, you force people to have to scavenge and take just to survive. And so what do you think is going to happen whenever you have, and August Alsina explained it perfectly. He said, if I'm starving and I have my child, I'm starving, and I see this brother over here got a donut, then I'm going to go over there, or he got 2 donuts. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to grab one, because I'm trying to survive. Mm-hmm. And then he's going to get mad because now you done took something that's mine and now I'm going to retaliate. And so that's essentially what's happening. When you infiltrate with drugs, when you infiltrate with guns, the fact that even during the Black Lives Matter movement, when we were protesting, the fact that police officers...
People were like...
When police officers were dropping off boxes of bricks, waiting for us to do something with them. That is antagonizing. Like, you are building up this spirit, and then when we do something about it, then you want to be like, I don't know why you did that. I don't know why.
It's a stupid idea.
Like, girl,
are y'all fucking dumb? Y'all know what y'all are doing, and y'all been doing it for years, for centuries, for fucking decades.
Okay, and to quote the great Crystal, they're not stupid. They're just hoping that y'all are, and that's the fact.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And y'all are. Y'all are.
And y'all are.
And y'all prove it every time.
Okay.
So I kind of think as we're talking about this, it would be, fruitfulness if we give some book. I said fruitfulness. Let me do it again. I thought it would be stupid because God didn't give me a brain to be stupid. To be a dumbass, to be exact. Thank you for correcting me, Semaj. If nobody, if we didn't give, book ideas to get that mind turning. So Semaj or Tay, do you have any, books or literatures or any type of quotes that you guys have?
Did you want to go first, Tay?
I don't have any. Wow. I know.
Well, girl. No, I'm playing.
What about you, Semaj?
Okay. Well, why you figured that out, Tay? I have a whole list, literally. My mom and dad have stocked up on these books over the years. Mm-hmm. And so one that I personally enjoy is The Glory Field. It is a book that I got when I was 8 years old. And it timelines a family straight from when they took them from Africa all the way down to the 70s and that lineage and the PTSD that had been brought down. The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates, who is on Oprah's best, book club thing, whatever. The Medical Apartheid, which talks about medical experiences of Black people over the years through slavery. Slave Testimony, which is a compilation book of all of the letters, well, not all, but of some of the letters that slaves wrote, timelining their experiences. Mm-hmm. I have that book in there. The Autobiography of Malcolm X, which, pretty self-explanatory. There's a new book called White Fragility, and it talks about why white people can't talk about race. Between the World and Me, which is a father and son, Black, who the father is explaining to the son about, racism and the things he's going to have to face as he grows up. Another book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, which is a book that one of my white friends actually put me on. The new Jim Crow, which I've heard raving reviews about that.
I need to read that.
I like that.
White Tears, Brown Scars is a good one. And Things Fall Apart, which timelines two African princesses, one who's from a direct lineage of two African parents, and then the other one whose dad happens to be a white colonizer, and their differences in growing up in princess kingdomhood in Africa. What? So those are books that I have personally enjoyed, that my mom has personally enjoyed, and that I think will help kind of round out whether you're Black or white or whatever.
You need to send me a list of these. Wow.
Yes.
These sounded very interesting.
Because these are the types of movies of Black cinema that I want to see.
Right.
Wait, hold on. Not nothing traumatic, though. Not nothing traumatic.
Well, see,
all of it's traumatic, but I mean, it's different from what we've always seen, like slavery and serving.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And then
I don't want to see people getting shot and beat up
and chained and.
Well, I'm glad you said that because can we move on to Psyched Out for a minute?
Yes. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Okay, so I also have another book now that you said that called Children of Blood and Bone. I don't know if you guys have heard about it.
It rings a bell.
It's by an African author who it's supposed to be coming or formulating into a film, and it's basically it's kind of a young adult, like teen novel, but it's really for kids to digest how slavery works, but through the lens of magic and all this stuff. So basically it's about a Black girl whose mom passes away in a war that they had over magic. And there are people that are born with magical powers and people who are not. And the people, this guy who isn't, and everybody's Black. The guy who isn't wages a war because he wants to take away the powers of Black people, and he oppresses them. And the girl, she kind of comes back and revitalizes magic in the society. But so many things happen in between. And instead of calling them the N-word, they call them maggot. And so there's so many similarities and correlations in the book, but it's really for kids to digest how racism works without all of the traumatic events.
You said that's a book?
It's a book, and it's coming to a movie, and it's a trilogy. Yeah.
Ooh,
and everybody's...
That's the shit I want to see.
And the characters look like Storm. The artwork is basically a dark-skinned girl, and everybody who has magical powers has gray hair.
And
so
they better replicate the same thing.
Right.
I don't want to see Netflix. I don't want to see a light-skinned girl.
Right.
Play this role.
Can we? Okay, so as we get into Psyched Out, I want to talk about that too. Just a tad bit on colorism, because what I want people to understand is I know we talked about PTSD.
Colorism. And 336. Or whatever this is.
Where did my pen go? Where did my pen go? Okay. You said 336. Okay. So to touch on this, I wanted to say that we talked about PTSD and the effects. I was listening to a podcast talking about emotional biases and what people do in those instances. So what happens is what you see on TV and all of that stuff as you grow up in your cognitive years, but usually between the time you're born and you're either 7 or 8, you're collecting this information because your brain is saying the way your brain works is it collects information, and then when you end up in an instance that reminds the brain of a certain instance that you had in the past, you repeat those same effects. And so it's collecting this data and saying, oh, we can use this for later. And so when you're growing up at 6, 7 years old under a racist father and mother, and then you grow up to be 31 years old, when you see a Black person, your brain is replaying in your mind that instance where you saw that Black person and your mom called them the N-word. And so whether you work towards fixing that is on you. So the way it works with white people, it works with Black people the same way. PTSD has been passed down. There has been medical instances where a father who has alcohol issues has a child, and now that child's liver literally can hold more liquor before they get drunk based on their father's alcoholism. So all of this stuff is passed down in lineage. So for PTSD, what I want people to understand is that it can show up in so many different ways. And so it can either happen in flashbacks, hypervigilance, nightmares, heart palpitations, poor sleep, heightened anxiety. And these things either happen between a single event or ongoing pervasive generationally transmitted, like racism. It can be passed down, and it is collective. And so it can have triggering cognitive, emotional, and somatic consequences. And so what I want people to understand is that even after they've done all of that to Black people, like we've talked about nuclear power plants in our areas and all of these things, on top of that, we also have the cognitive, the emotional effects of all of these things passed down from our ancestors. And so is there times where you can recognize, like, okay, maybe this is a triggering society, not based on something that necessarily I went through, but maybe I've seen my mother go through it, or maybe I've seen my daddy go through it. Because we were talking on Clubhouse, there was a room where a lady said, when church people do this,
the church finger?
Yes. Well, back in slavery, when they would hold church and the plantation owners would hold church, that was the signal to slave owners to ask master, can I leave? And so I don't think people know that behind all of that stuff. We've just seen our mothers and our grandmothers do it, and it has been passed down, and we don't necessarily know why we're doing certain things. And so I want people to be aware of the things that they're doing and what its meaning behind it is, because maybe even you might not recognize something that you've done as something wrong, but who knows, maybe your grandmother did that, generations ago, based on the effects, based on things that have happened to her, and now you're doing it. And so that's just my whole thing is I want people to be aware psychologically, emotionally, about what they're doing and how they're affecting other people.
That's a loaded question. I don't know. Or I maybe not
recognize?
Yeah, I don't recognize because I don't know what it is like back in the day that meant. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right. Like the history. I think people don't understand.
I don't know.
I
don't know the history, so I can't sit here and be like, oh well, my grandma does this, is that, So I don't know along the lines that could help. I don't know. Tay, do you have anything?
No, Neo, stop it. No, I don't. I'm trying to do something.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that. Okay, I'm not saying that my grandma does this, but I'm saying as a whole, the Black community does this. I want to bring religion into it, like how there's only one religion. It's a set. This is how you're supposed to pray. This is how you pray. The Bible says this. The Bible says that, and everything is just strict what it is. Going by the Bible. That's my only example.
Well, see, that's a bigger question. I think I saw a video of I forgot the YouTube channel, but they do the do all strippers think alike? Do all racists think alike? They do this YouTube series, and they did one, and they were talking about racism, and they were talking about white culture, and like, do white people have
there culture? Is no white culture.
And the dude was saying, no, there's no white culture. We can't relate based on being white. I can relate based on being Irish or Polish or that specific entity, but not white. And she said, this other lady said, well, I don't think anybody can. Like, just because I'm Black doesn't mean we relate to others. And I was like, well, hold on. Because Black people, we can relate to certain things based on things that have been done to us. So we can relate based on, like you said, religion. We can relate to having similar experiences in this country based on religion and racism and all of those things. And so I think Black culture differs from white culture and how it impacts us. So like you said, like religion is one of those things that, like, in America specifically, there is, like you said, kind of one thing or a group of maybe 3 or 4 types of religion that all kind of coincide with each other.
Exactly, right. Yeah, there is no white culture. I don't.
No, sadly, the girls have no culture. They have no flavor.
It's no flavor.
They have
it's no
seasoning.
Taste.
They have nothing.
Thank God for TikTok again. Maybe I need to re-download TikTok. But there was some white guy on TikTok saying there is no white culture. Everything was stolen. Everything was made up. Yeah. The Roman pictures and portraits that y'all see made up.
Right.
It's made up.
But I think, and they've done so, I think that's what is shocking to me, is they've done so much work. They put their lives on the line. To try and dilute.
Dilute. Okay, let's talk about back to trauma. Back to the Black African Americans. How we talk and how we act with the kids. It's the slave mentality.
Right. That you have to beat on them, and
you have to beat on.
Right. But that's the thing. Like, people don't even understand.
I was gonna choose violence, but I'm not gonna choose violence. I'm not gonna.
Why not? Choose violence in the next.
Do I?
No.
Do I need to?
Yeah.
Should I? Yeah. You're right. I should. I am.
Not the
so this always, because this confuses me. I would like to know this.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we're talking about, the trauma that, us beating our kids and all of that other stuff, Why in these D9 organizations are y'all beating and abusing each other and trying to humiliate and tear down one another? Basically putting them through this like slavery type treatment to
it's gang behavior.
To gain a brotherhood.
It's gang behavior.
Why is somebody having to humiliate you and dehumanize you for you to appreciate a brotherhood or a sisterhood? Like, why is that? Why are y'all letting somebody beat you?
Are we gonna allow? Can we allow?
Can we have this in a deeper
episode?
Yeah, let's talk about this. But like you said, it's gang behavior. Because why? Because wait. Because why do you have to be on me and then call me your brother? You're messing me up mentally.
No, and these people do be messed up mentally. They are messed up mentally. All of them are messed up mentally. It's the mental illness. You have a mental illness.
They have CTE.
Therapy. You have a mental illness. Let me break it down for you because you are slow. You need to go get help from a licensed therapist. You can Google them on the internet, on Safari, on your phone, or Chrome on your Android device. And you can type into the search bar, licensed therapist near me, and you can contact one of them. If you have insurance, your insurance may cover it. If you do not have insurance, it will probably be very expensive. So I suggest you go to a community center and ask for help. Thank you for your time.
A lot of people may be mad at me when I say this, but it must be said.
A lot of you will be mad when I say this, but it must be said. A lot of y'all have mental illness.
Wait. A lot of y'all have CTE, so please go to therapy. Please.
Please
to stop being musty.
Yeah, that's how you listen. That's how y'all. I know the last episode we kind of touched base on this, but that's how y'all gonna heal the hood and that generational trauma.
Wait, and stop being a bandit for this pussy, please.
Period. That's how you gonna heal it.
It's the way we need to start having special guests. We need to have therapists, people from fraternities. Like I want them to.
To give a perspective.
I want to hear their perspectives. I want to hear what they have to say because we need to talk about this. We need to delve deeper into this. Wow. This episode turned out to be something else that it wasn't supposed to be. But that's
wasn't planned.
It wasn't a plan, but that's what happens on Xcuse Me, okay? That's what happens on Xcuse Me podcast.
Per.
So go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out.
Yes.
We want to thank everybody for joining us on episode. What episode is this? Is this episode 6?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. The power. Well, you can find me on Instagram at JeJuan at JeJuann.
Child,
you can also follow me on.
He do this every week.
I do, and I love to do it every week. And you're gonna get it again and again. You can find me on Twitter at JeJuan98.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, let me just tell you, you need a new cut, a new color, a new style, a new do. Because you're giving us the same thing again and again and again. But anyway, on Twitter and on Instagram, my Twitter and Instagram will be linked below. Because I'm not finna spell it out and sound it out like JeJuan Jennings does, honey. So Semaj, you can go. And Semaj, you choose what you feel is best for you. Go ahead, honey.
I'm dead. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say you can follow me at Completely Semaj on all platforms, at Completely SEMAJ. If you want to follow my Finsta.
Sound it out, honey. Sound it out.
Because God needs your brain to be a dumbass.
Okay, if y'all want to find my Finsta, it is at White People Down. It is on Twitter. It is at The White People's Dancer.
I thought it was something else. I thought it was make. What's it called? Make.
Stop! Cut the cameras, deadass.
Cut the cameras.
Cut the cameras. Cut them off.
Deadass. I'm dead. Anyways, moving on. Yes, this has been a great episode, and I'm so glad to have this conversation with you guys, with some smart people.
Yes,
and like I said, we really are sorry that we couldn't get y'all that episode, but it had been a hectic week for all of us. Some of us more than others needed to unplug from life.
Yeah. Because life was doing its turn, its grab,
Oh yeah, baby! It swung into what was it in Gemini? It's in something, baby. But when it swung into whatever it swung
chaotic.
Into, it was like whoosh. Yeah. She grabbed everybody by the hair and was like, "It's a stick up."
And I'm dragging.
Even she got Semaj by his imaginary follicles, but you know.
It's the way I consistently choose violence off camera and Tay consistently chooses violence on camera. And that's fine. So because we can shut this down.
So like the African Americans, or like as African Americans, as we should do, choose that violence. Yeah. We want revenge. Yeah.
Wow.
Avenge yourself, Semaj.
Avenge yourself. Yeah.
Let's see you.
You know how I'm gonna avenge myself?
How?
I'm gonna cut the cameras. Bye guys, this has been a great episode. Love you. This has been fun. Bye.
Bye y'all.